Hello, God's children. Jesus loves you. The update on the rapture and God was working in the life of Joseph. NATO satellites images reveal a huge buildup of Russian troops at the Ukraine frontier. NATO presented a satellite photographs on Thursday to show the Russian deployments of 40,000 troops near Ukraine frontier, with tanks, armored vehicles, artillery, and aircraft ready for action. This is a force that is very capable of high readiness, and as is illustrated through the imagery, it's close to the routes and lines of communication. It's going to be a total lunar eclipse, and this will be on April 15th, and it'll be visible from Australia, New Zealand, and all Americas. The action begins on Tuesday at 2 a.m. Eastern Time. These will be the blood moon, which is one of the first of the four that's coming in these next 2 years. And it's also going to be very significant because, when it lands on Passover, something happens, with Israel, with the Jews. So with the things going on in the Middle East, with the peace treaty thing, it's going to be extended. And with this blood moon coming up, that could be something with Israel and the Jews. And with the Russians, building up, this could be the start of Magog. We do not know the day and hour our Lord Jesus comes back. Only the Father knows. Your redemption is nigh. Be ready. God was working in the life of Joseph. And I'm going to take you to Genesis chapter 37, verse 1 through 11. And Jacob dwelt in the land where his father was a stranger, in the land of Canaan. There are generations of Jacob. Joseph, being the 17 years old, was feeding the flock with his brethren, and he laid with the sons of Bilhah, and with the sons of Zippah, and the father and their wives, and Joseph brought unto his father their evil report. Now Israel loved Joseph more than any of his children, because he was a son of the old age, and he made him a coat of many colors. And when his brethren saw that father loved him more than they loved their brethren, they hated him, and they could not speak peaceably about him. And Joseph dreamed a dream, and he told it to his brethren, and they hated him even more. And he said unto them, Hear, I pray you, this dream which I have dreamed. For behold, we are binding sheaves in the field, and lo, my sheaf arose, and also stood upright, and behold, your sheaves stood round about, and made obeisance to my sheaf. And his brethren said unto him, Shalt thou indeed reign over us? And shalt thou indeed have dominion over us? And they hated him even more for his dreams and for his words. And he dreamed another dream, and told in his brethren, and said, Behold, I have dreamed a dream more, and behold, the sun and the moon and the 11 stars made obeisance to me. And he told it to his father and to his brethren. And his father rebuked him, and said to him, What is this dream that you have dreamed? Shall I and thy mother and my brethren indeed come to bow down ourselves thee to the earth? And his brethren envied him, and his father observed that saying. Okay, I'm going to break this down here, and I'm going to kind of go down. I'm going to go through the 11 verses here in chapter 37 here. And this is kind of the purity of Joseph's life, and that was kind of in verse 2. Kind of talks about this. One of the most striking ways Joseph was different was in the purity of his life. Every time when you see Joseph, he was doing the right thing. This made him very different from his brothers. Purity, integrity, and desires to do the right things at all the times marked the life of Joseph. Verse 2 brings us face to face with the holy heart and beat with the chest of Joseph. We are told that Joseph was tending to his father's sheep with his half-brothers and the sons of Bilhah and Zilpah. You might remember that Bilhah and Rachel's handmaid, and Zilpah was Lehi's handmaid. These two women, who had been given to Jacob by his wives, and had fathered 2 children to each other, the sons of Bilhah were Dan and Naphtali, and the sons of Zilpah were Gad and Asher. As you read the story, you'll get impressions that this is the first time that Joseph has been sent to work with these men. When he saw them doing, most were shocked and deeply. This may have been Joseph's first exposure to the vile nature of his brothers. The brothers of Joseph were an evil bunch. Among other things, they were guilty of murder, hatred, envy, enslaving their brother, lying, immorality. Whatever it was these men were doing, it shocked Joseph so much that he came and told Jacob. This event surely caused some problems between Joseph and the rest of his brothers. It may have been the seed that plot where the root of bitterness in the hearts of his brothers began to grow. Some of the authors accused Joseph of being a talebearer. They believe that Joseph brought about the hatred of his brothers because he acted like a good, goody two-shoes. In reality, Joseph displayed absolutely integrity in going to his father with an evil report concern about his brothers. Joseph had a responsibility to his father, whatever his brothers were doing involving the flock of Jacob. This is involving the good name in the era. He needed to know what was going on with his sons. Joseph did the right thing when he went and told Jacob and told him about the evil deeds of his brothers. There are some lessons in this verse that we need to take heart today. Every one of our lives should be marked by purity. The God that we serve is a holy God, and he expects his people to be holy people. He wants us to stand separate from the world and its evil ways. He wants us to be different. We should be different in the way we act, talk, think, live, etc. Purity should be a hallmark quality in our lives. It isn't easy, but we should always strive to do the right thing in every situation. Our lives should be marked by integrity. There are plenty of people who are willing to do the wrong thing, especially if it makes their life easier. But we should always do the right in spite of the personal costs. It would be easier for Joseph to cover up what his brothers were doing. It would have been easier still to have joined with them with the sin. But he was determined to do the right thing, even if it cost him everything. It is easy to tell a little white lie to keep the heat off your life. Don't do it. Tell the truth. It's easy to cheat a little here and there and make things easier for life, but don't do it. Always be above board of all dealings. It is easy to cut corners at school and at work, so you will fit it with the crowd. Don't do it. Do the right thing at all costs. One other lesson has to do with the proper use of the tongue. We should never be guilty of being a talebearer. If there is something that you must tell, be sure that you tell the right person. Jacob had the right to know what his sons were doing, so Joseph told him and him alone, and he told his father in the effort to stop evil. A gossip always tells the wrong person. They were not trying to stop evil, but to spread it. If you must tell something, always tell the truth. That is just what Joseph did. He did not embellish the facts. He simply told things that were. Gossip loves to add and subtract from the details as it suits their agenda. And verse 3 and 4 talk about the promotion of Joseph's life. These verses tell us a little about the atmosphere, within the home of Joseph. It seems clear that Jacob was guilty of favoritism in his relationship with his children. We are clearly told that Jacob loved Joseph more than all his children. Jacob should have known better than to do this. After all, he grew up in a home where his wife, was in favoritism. In his home, his mother, Rebekah, favored Jacob, while his father, Isaac, favored Esau. The favoritism brought envy, strife, and trouble into the home. Parents at any age should be careful that do not favor one child over another. Children should be treated as equals as far as is possible. Jacob's choice of Joseph did not result purely from a desire to evaluate him above his brothers. It appeared that the text that Jacob had chosen Joseph to the head of the household on his death. This indicated the two statements, because he was a son of his old age, and he made him a coat of many colors. Let's consider the two statements in great detail. The phrase, because he was a son of old age, can refer to the fact that Jacob was 91 years old and Joseph was born. And he waited for many years of a child to be beloved by his wife Rachel, and Joseph was born, his heart's desire was realized. But there's another possibility. The phrase also could be translated because he was a white head on the young shoulders. This might mean that Jacob saw wisdom and strength and character in Joseph that was missing in the rest of his sons. Jacob is 108 when those events took place. He doesn't know how much longer he'll live. He needs one of his sons to take over when he dies. The oldest one, Reuben, disqualified himself because he committed bad things, with Jacob's Behia. The oldest sons of Bilhah and Zippah and handmaids would not have been his choices. The only choice that remained was Joseph, the eldest son of his favorite wife. We are also told that Jacob made Joseph the coat of many colors. We always seem to picture this as being a little striped jacket and scream, "I'm special, Father. Love me more than you. He loves you." This garment said far more than that. The phrase translate the coat of many colors literally refers to the shirt of the long sleeves. This was a special type of garment that was multicolored and heavily ornamented, and it had sleeves that reached all the way to the hands and hems of the garment, which had reached to the ankles. It marked a wearing of a chieftain and the head of a clan. This type of garment was not worn by common workers. It was only worn by overseers and royalty. They were to be above work. This garment was to be worn by a heir. When Jacob gave this coat to Joseph, it identified him as the father's choice to be his replacement of the head of the family. It identified him as the superior son in the family. This coat told the other brothers, "You do not report to Jacob any longer. You work for Joseph now." This was a big deal in the family of the era. The head of the household literally held absolute life, death, and authority over members of the family. When the brothers of Joseph saw him wearing the garment, they knew exactly where they stood in the order of the family. Joseph carried himself well and earned the respect for his father. As time went on, his father gave him more and more responsibility with the family. He carried himself well and proved himself to be trustworthy, that his father appointed him to be the heir of the place, the head of the family. By the way, this position would have been entitled Joseph to the double portions of his family inheritance. All this attention from Jacob towards Joseph created jealousy among his brothers. In fact, they were told that they hated him and could not speak to him peacefully to him. The word hated, and a very strong word, is an idea of a person or thing that is desolate and disposed, and which one wishes that it has no contact or relationship. The brothers of Joseph wanted nothing to do with him. They could not even say Shalom and when they met him, or Shalom, and they didn't have any kind of words for Joseph. In fact, their hatred grew very much each day. And that's kind of what talks through in verse 4, 5, 8, and 11. That's a lot of background. Okay, we will live a life of integrity and holiness, the Father notices. When we have faithful in our service to Him, He will promote us to a greater area of services. The true character of our heart is revealed in the faithfulness of our service to the Lord. And let me take you to Luke chapter 16 through 10. He that is faithful in that which is the least faithful also in much, that he is just unjust in the least is unjust also in much. When we are promoted, we must not boast about our achievements. Any achievement in the spiritual realm is purely the good grace of God working in our lives. Let me take you to John chapter 1, verse 26 through 30. John answered to them, saying, I baptize you with water, but that standeth among you, whom you not. He is that he's coming after me is preferred before me, whose shoes latchet I am not worthy to unloose. These things are done in Bethabara behind Jordan, when John was baptizing. The next day John saith Jesus coming up and said, Behold, the Lamb of God, which has taken away the sin of the world. This is he whom I said, After me cometh a man, which is preferred before me, for he was before me. When others prosper and are promoted, we must guard against becoming jealousy. Instead of being angry that we are progressing, we should be thankful for the Lord is doing in our lives. Your true self is revealed as how you respond to the promotions, blessings, achievements, and advancements of others. The promise of Joseph's life. And this is through verses 5 through 11. As trouble was brewing in the family, God was working in the life of Joseph. God spoke to Joseph in 2 dreams. And in these dreams, God revealed some of his plans for Joseph's life. Let's look at the 2 dreams that Joseph dreamed. And this is in verse 5 through 8. It was the first dream. This first dream was Joseph and his brothers gathering grain in a field. They were cutting wheat and binding them into sheaves. In that dream, Joseph's sheaves stood up, and the sheaves belonging to his brother bowed down before him. His brothers immediately interpreted that dream to mean that Joseph would one day rule over them, and they reacted in anger. They defied the dream and hated Joseph even more than they hated him before. And verses 9 through 11 is the second dream. This second dream consists of the sun, the moon, and 11 stars all bowing down in Joseph. This time he did not only tell his brothers, he also told his father. Jacob immediately understood the implications of this dream and issued a mild rebuke. But we are told that observing the saying, this means to take heed to. Jacob is having the choice of Joseph confirming by a dream from the Lord. Of course, this dream, like any other, caused a riffraff between Joseph and his brothers to grow wider. Not only that their father obviously chosen Joseph over them, now God is speaking through Joseph. And they all see the things that are starting to become an increasing jealous from their brothers. It should be noted that Joseph does not seem to have told his dreams because he wanted to brag or boast. He told them because that they were so strange he needed to share with them the others. I do not detect any impurity in Joseph's motives here, but these dreams were the first indication that God had big plans for Joseph. Eventually they were completely fulfilled. I would imagine that it was these dreams that sustained Joseph through the pain of the pit, prosperous house, and the prison. It was these dreams that reassured God had a plan for his life, that eventually everything would turn out right. Okay, let me share a few points of the portions of the scripture. There is a word here about dreams. God does not speak through dreams in our days. In Joseph's times, they did not have the Bible. They did not have a complete, revelations of God's word. We do. In our day, God speaks through his word alone. The Bible is superior to the dreams and visions in several ways. First, the Bible speaks to many subjects. Dreams are limited only to their focus. Second, the Bible is far more trustworthy. Anyone can read it. A dream is only known to the dreamer. Third, the Bible has absolute authority. Dreams mean really nothing. Fourth, the Bible is certain and fixed. Dreams fade with time. But put no faith in dreams and visions of the night. Instead, read, study, and build upon your life from the Word of God. There is a word here about hope. In this dreams, Joseph received the shadows of promises from the land. He held onto these dreams that were sustained through him from some times. When God births a dream in your heart, let nothing take it away. Rest assured that God will accomplish in your life all the things that must please him in this time. There is a word here about hatred. When you serve the Lord, live clean and follow his dream that God gives you. Some people are going to rise against you, but don't be surprised when you're hated for following the Lord. They hated him when he hated you. Let me take you to John chapter 15, verse 18 through 20. If the world hate you, you know that it hated me before it hated you. If you were of the world would have loved his own. But because you are not of the world, but I have chosen you out of the world, therefore the world hateth you. Remember the word that I said unto you, the servant is not greater than the Lord. If they have persecuted me, then they also persecute you. If they have kept me saying, they also keep yours also. So don't let haters stop you from achieving your potential, for the Lord. Okay. In this banquet that formed Jacob's family, there was really only one flower. Joseph, who was among of all the thorns, like a cream of a young man, rose to the top in his life and stand a testimony which God can do with a life in spite of difficult times and was seen to hinder in his works. Maybe God has placed his finger on some area of your life today. Maybe there is a problem in your area of purity. You need to get that to the Lord and get it straightened out right now. Maybe there is jealousy in your heart over promotions of someone else. You need to get that out, get that straightened out. Maybe you are like Joseph's brother in other ways that you need to be saved. Maybe life has interfered with your, with the dreams of God birthed in your heart, and you wonder if they will ever come to pass. You need to talk to him about that today. Maybe you just want to get in a place of submission to the Father's plan in your life. Maybe you want to surrender to his plan, serve him and more faithfully so that he can bless you and live for his glory. If he has spoken to you, you must obey him. Jesus come back very, very soon. Jesus loves you. God bless.